Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're going to completely flip how you understand the physical world around you. Seriously, if you think you know what a resource is, we'll prepare to have that perspective entirely shifted. We're diving deep into the paradigm shift of resource geography, and I promise you, by the end of this, you're never going to look at a piece of coal, a rushing river, or honestly, even your own potential quite the same way again. Let's get right into it. So, let's start by challenging a major baseline assumption. It's a question we hear literally all the time, right? Are we running out of resources? We almost always picture resources as these finite physical objects, just kind of sitting in the ground like money in a piggy bank, and we're rapidly depleting them until, inevitably, the bank is empty. But what if I told you that physical matter itself isn't actually a resource yet?
To really grasp this, we've got to look at this explosive idea from the famous theorist E.W. Zimmermann. He famously stated, "Resources are not, they become." Now, that creates some immediate cognitive dissonance, doesn't it? Zimmermann argued that neither the environment nor its parts are actually resources until human intervention comes into play. They literally require technological and cultural action to become something useful.
Which brings us to Act 1. What are resources really? The functional definition.
You see, geography isn't just about drawing maps or memorizing capital cities. It's profoundly about how we transform the neutral stuff around us. In geography, a resource is not a thing, it's a function. Influential theorists like Fitzer focused heavily on this utility aspect, basically saying a resource is anything that satisfies human needs. Mucknell actually took it a step further, defining resources as the means of attaining given ends. And this points out a really critical reality. An object in the natural world is absolutely nothing until it is actually used to achieve a goal.
And what's super interesting here is how these three interdependent pillars intersect to create resources. It's a completely interconnected relationship. First, you have nature, right? It just sits there providing the raw materials, that neutral stuff we talked about. Then, technology acts as the tool or the knowledge we use to convert that nature. And finally, institutions. This is our social, political, and economic structures, plus laws, markets, property rights. They organize exactly how that technology is applied to nature. You absolutely need all three.
Let's move into Act 2, the Trinity of Creation, mapping geography directly over to economics.
So here, we're looking at the driving force of how a resource actually comes into existence, and it beautifully mirrors classical economic theory. It really illustrates how nature, man, and culture work together. On the left, we've got the geographic trinity, and right in the middle, the classical economic trilogy of production. Nature provides the land, so the physical base. Man provides the labor, the physical and mental effort. And culture provides the capital, which is our accumulated knowledge and tools. Together, this trinity transforms a totally basic physical environment into a highly functional economic landscape.
This perfectly sets up Act 3, Consumer versus Creator, focusing on the human catalyst.
We really need to shift our focus to the dual role of humanity in all this. Think of it this way. As a small m man, the individual human being is simply a consumer. We're a biological entity with basic needs and, honestly, a very limited planetary impact. But as a capital M man, the entire human race acts as a creator. We are this massive cultural force equipped with collective knowledge and organizational power that can literally transform the entire planet.
The crucial takeaway here is that humans act as the ultimate catalyst. Think about it. Without human intellect, without human desire, coal is literally just a black rock sitting in the dirt. Uranium? Just a heavy metal. It is only the human mind, our ingenuity, our needs, that actually gives meaning and utility to the environment around us. We are the ultimate resource. But it's not just raw intellect, it's our shared culture. Culture determines what a resource is because it acts as a filter through which the environment is perceived. I mean, think about a rushing waterfall. A society with absolutely no knowledge of electricity doesn't look at that and see a power resource. They just see water falling over a cliff, right? But as our culture evolves, the resource base of the entire world expands right along with it.
Which brings us to Act 4, expanding the Earth and the concept of the phantom pile.
Okay, we're going to introduce the mind-bending reality that natural resources are not fixed at all. Actually, they're constantly changing based entirely on human capability. Let's look at a concrete example. Imagine a brand new engine is invented that allows a car to travel twice as far on a single gallon of gas. Now, we haven't physically found any more oil in the ground. The physical amount of matter is exactly the same. But through human capability, we have effectively doubled the resource.
This creates what geographers call the phantom pile.
It refers to the extra resource wealth generated by our brain power, efficiency, and technology, rather than by physically extracting more stuff from the Earth. And here is why this matters so much. Every single time we create efficiency, we are literally generating resources out of thin air. We're expanding the Earth's capacity using nothing but our minds. It's absolutely wild.
Moving to Act 5, Technology, the ultimate bridge, taking us from neutral stuff to a usable asset. Let's transition to the specific mechanics of how this brain power actually expands our earthly limits. We can break down the three primary roles technology plays. First is discovery. This helps us find hidden materials, like using satellite imaging to locate deep minerals. Second is extraction, which allows us to reach previously inaccessible materials, like deep sea drilling. And third is transformation, taking raw material and turning it into a usable form. For example, turning raw bauxite into usable aluminum. Technology is the active mechanism that bridges nature and utility. To wrap up this explainer, we really have to return to the core truth we've uncovered here. Technology and human culture expand the limits of the Earth. We aren't just consumers eating away at a finite pie. We're creators baking entirely new ones. The sources make it super clear that the physical amount of matter may be finite, sure, but its status as a resource is not, proving that the only true scarcity in this world is a lack of human ingenuity. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. If human ingenuity is indeed the ultimate resource, and we can literally conjure phantom piles of wealth out of thin air, what are we capable of creating next?